Let's begin.
Is that you, or do you have a makeup artist who does that for you?
I actually did it myself. Yeah.
Nice.
She spent 6 months tying men up in an East Village dungeon before she ever set foot on a film set.
Obviously, people don't ever want to believe anything.
Yeah.
She painted gallery canvases with her own blood.
I'm really good at disassociating, I guess.
Okay.
Dated the most famous man in music for exactly 1 month.
I'm bipolar. This man is bipolar. Like, maybe I can, help, you know?
And turned a mispronounced movie title into a personality.
This is it. Now people will take me seriously. And then they still don't.
And somehow, the woman the internet loves to mock became one of the most influential style forces of this decade.
Be delusional. Like, anyone that's anybody was delusional.
The rare celebrity who built an empire, not on being liked, but on being looked at. The question is how?
It was totally unintentional.
If you only have 30 seconds, here's the bottom line of this video. Julia Fox became the face of coolness by doing the one thing famous people are trained never to do. She told on herself constantly before anyone else could.
I hate working. I hate work. Doesn't everybody though? I don't feel bad for saying that. I feel like everyone hates working. I just want to be at home on TikTok eating my snacks.
Every scandal, every procedure, every bad decision, she narrated it first, loudest, and with a wink, which made her impossible to expose and very hard to look away from.
You know.
But if you'd like a bit more of an explanation, and trust me, with this one, you do, follow me. Welcome. I'm Kira, and this is your beauty blueprint. I've spent a whole week researching, watching, and editing all things Julia Fox to bring you her very essence and share the best of my findings. Naturally, I have read her autobiography, Down the Drain.
Hell yeah, I got nothing else going on. Sure, why not?
And I'll be honest with you, this one surprised me. I went in expecting a tabloid creature and came out with something closer to a downtown philosopher in latex. There's a story in here about a one-bedroom apartment outside Milan, a Craigslist ad, a hotel suite full of clothes, and a purse made of real human hair, and every single piece of it connects. And stick around, because by the end of this video I'll even serve us a quick breakdown of what we can learn, very practically speaking, from Julia Fox's unique style universe, including her actual smudged eye technique in her own words, step by step. One more thing before we dive in. To celebrate this video's launch, I designed a Julia Fox-inspired t-shirt just for us, a little homage to her infamous jeans purse, the Jers, because if any object sums up this woman, it's a purse she cut out of denim and dared us call it ugly. You'll find the link on your screen now and in the description below. By the way, we have gathered quite a range there by now, so please feel free to check it out. They ship super quickly to and fro all over our little globe, and are super soft too. My biggest dream is to catch one of you wearing one. Now, settle in, pour yourself something fitting, and here's where we have to be precise, because Julia is now sober, and has been for years, so no martinis tonight. Instead, think Milan by way of downtown Manhattan, a sharp espresso if it's early, a blood orange Italian soda over ice if it's late, and if you're snacking, something in the spicy rigatoni family, a nod to Carbone, the red sauce institution she calls one of her favorite restaurants, obviously. That obviously is hers, by the way, and we'll get to the very famous dinner she had there soon enough. So, glass in hand? Good. Let's start the analysis with understanding who Julia Fox actually is, and how on earth she came to be this super famous. Here's a tiny backstory. Julia Francesca Fox was born on February 2nd, 1990, in Milan, Italy. That makes her an Aquarius sun, and for once, the cliché chart reading practically writes itself. The fixed air sign of the alien, the provocateur, the person who would much rather be completely incomprehensible than ordinary. To be honest, I gasped a tiny little bit when I saw that she's an Aquarius, because so am I, and I always felt this odd connection to her. It all makes sense now. Julia herself has said in an interview that she was born around 2 in the afternoon. So, she is a Taurus moon and Cancer rising. Honestly, that feels appropriate. The moon in Taurus at 10 degrees, that's a different person entirely. Super interesting. Taurus is where the moon is exalted, the most grounded and sensual place it can sit, wanting security, comfort, pleasure, the tangible. So underneath the cool Aquarian surface is someone deeply attached to the body, to beauty, to material stability, which makes sense. Earth and water dominate the chart overall. The airy detachment is mostly the performance, not the core. The Cancer rising and Pisces midheaven round it out, a soft, watery, self-protective outer shell over a public identity, built on image, glamour, and shape-shifting. Her chart fits her almost too well, a kind of very exciting contradiction that pulls us in. Her mother, Gracie, is Italian. Her father, Thomas Fox, is American, a contractor she has described as a kind of mad scientist recluse, mostly absent. And yet, in her telling, the parents she pretty much grew up with. The marriage didn't last. Until she was 6, Giulia was raised largely by her grandfather in Saronno, a small town outside Milan, a Catholic household, 1 bedroom, and that whole extended family tightly folded into it while her mother was finishing college. There was even a brief period of homelessness when she was a toddler. Then, at 6, New York. The family landed in Yorkville, on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, close enough to money to see it everywhere, far enough from it to want it badly. And here's where the story stops being quaint. By her teens, Giulia was shoplifting from Bloomingdale's, caught, banned from the store, and eventually put on probation for 3 years on charges that included grand larceny for credit card fraud. Her memoir places the Bloomingdale's ban even earlier than the press does, so let's just say she was banned from a department store at an age when most of us were still asking permission to even go to the mall. Her first kiss, by her own account, came at 11. From a 26-year-old man, at that. Jesus. It explains a great deal about the armor that comes later. While she was still enrolled at Citius School, an alternative high school, she found a listing in the adult gigs section of Craigslist and spent 6 months working as a dominatrix in the East Village. Her dom name was Valentina, and hold on to that name, by the way. It comes back 2 decades later in the most tender way imaginable. In her memoir, she describes this dominatrix work without flinching, including a scene where she stands naked, legs apart, wrists tied and hooked to the ceiling. She was just a teenager, though. She has never once told the story as tragedy, and that choice, not to be pitied, not to be some cautionary tale, becomes the engine of everything that follows. The years after were genuinely dark, and I'm going to describe them plainly because she does. Heroin, including a stretch that led her to trap houses in New Orleans, multiple overdoses that nearly killed her, an abusive, possessive, drug-dealing boyfriend who kept tormenting her even from Rikers Island, her own stints in jail and in a psychiatric hospital, a sugar daddy entanglement with an older man who warned her she was throwing her whole life down the drain, a phrase she would later pick up off the floor, polish, and put on the cover of her best-selling memoir. That's just her way. The book also documents an attempt at making her own life come to an end. And then came the loss that reorganized her life. In 2019, one of her closest friends died of an overdose. Giulia has said directly that her friend's death is what keeps her sober. Female friendship is the actual love story of her memoir, not the rappers, not the husbands. And once you know that, her public persona reads differently. She told an interviewer back in 2016, years before fame, "I find comfort in chaos, and I feel at ease around drug addicts." And then the sentence that might be the skeleton key to Giulia Fox. "That's how I survive, by taking something awful and turning it into something spectacular." I'd write that one down. It's the closest thing to a blueprint she's ever handed us. Because here's what people forget, or never knew. Giulia Fox was an artist for a full decade before Hollywood found her. In 2015, she self-published a photo book called Symptomatic of a Relationship Gone Sour, Heartburn/Nausea, that was chronicling 3 formative relationships in raw, unflattering, intimate images. A second book, PTSD, followed in 2016. That same year, in an interview where she was dubbed the Bonnie Parker of photography, she said, "A camera tells the truth. It's such an honest tool, and so very humbling." This is a woman the internet would later accuse of being fake, telling us in 2016 that honesty was her actual medium. Why didn't anyone listen? In 2017, she mounted a gallery show titled R.I.P. Giulia Fox, silk canvases painted with her own blood, curated with her longtime friend Richie Shazam, whom she'd met at a party back in high school. She already killed her, charactered off as an art piece 5 years before the world knew who she was. She then co-founded a knitwear line, Francisca Fox, with her friend Brianna Andelor, who later became her stylist. She posed for the final nude edition of Playboy in 2015. She wrote and directed a short film, Fantasy Girls, about teenage girls involved in sex work in Reno. When she refused to call her work feminist, she put it like this: "I want my work to speak for itself. I don't want to label myself as anything." And running underneath all of it, the Italian phrase she kept returning to in those years, "Che ne sarà di noi?" meaning what will become of us. She was about to find out. And here's your first checkpoint, because what happens next involves a cafe, Adam Sandler, and the single most mispronounced movie title in internet history. And if you've only ever known Julia Fox as a meme, the next 10 minutes are going to completely change the picture. If you're enjoying this so far, this is your very gentle reminder to like and subscribe. It seriously helps this little channel, and we still have a lot of women like Julia to cover. Around 2015, at Jack's Wife Freda, a cafe in Soho, Julia crossed paths with the filmmaker Josh Safdie. The Safdie brothers love casting non-actors, real faces, real voltage, and they were already fans of her downtown work. The female lead in the film they were writing, a jeweler's mistress named Giulia De Fiore, was effectively built around her. The studio, reportedly, wanted a name. Lady Gaga's was floated. Jennifer Lawrence's was floated. Our Julia screen tested with Adam Sandler and beat them both for the part. Can you even believe that? Her line about it is gorgeously unbothered. Josh always thought of me as a star, and I think he wanted to be the one to discover me and put me on the map. And about the audition process, she said, pretty much every single girl in New York auditioned for the role of Julia. They thought it was a movie about my life. Uncut Gems came out in 2019 with Martin Scorsese among the producers, and the woman with no acting training walked away with a breakthrough actor nomination at the Gotham Awards. Critics who expected a stunt-cast girlfriend got something else entirely. A performance so lived in it felt kind of like documentary. For about 2 years, that was the story. Promising actress, interesting past, wonderful in the Safdie film, and then came New Year's Eve, 2021, in Miami. She met Kanye West at a party that night, and by her account, there was an instant connection. Within days, the courtship went fully public and fully cinematic. He flew her to New York. They saw Slave play on Broadway, then dinner at Carbone, there it is, where, as she wrote in a photo diary for Interview magazine, he directed an entire photo shoot of her in the restaurant while people were eating. Afterward, he surprised her with a hotel suite filled with clothes. She called it a real Cinderella moment. In a follow-up column, she gushed, calling into the magazine, by her own description, fully naked. For someone like me, who's such a control freak, to just let go and be taken care of is foreign at this point in life. I think I deserve it. The relationship lasted roughly 1 month. It was over by Valentine's Day, 2022. And in that 1 month, 2 permanent things happened. The world got a new it girl, and the it girl got a new face. Let's take the face first, because this is a beauty channel, darling. And that month produced one of the most copied eye looks of the decade. At the Kenzo show in Paris in January 2022, Julia appeared with her eyes wrapped in a thick, smudgy wing of pure black shadow. Graphic, dramatic, almost medieval, actually. The look was orchestrated by the makeup empress herself, Pat McGrath, and reportedly Kanye himself assisted on that first iteration. The same night gave us the double denim moment, a Schiaparelli cone bra denim jacket over Carhartt jeans, pulled from designer Daniel Roseberry's own closet. According to Retail Analytics, searches for double denim jumped 31% in a week, and searches for baggy low-rise jeans spiked 74%. One woman, one outfit. That is cultural force you can actually measure. Now the messier part, and we're not going to euphemize it, because she never has. The internet immediately decided the romance was a PR stunt, that Julia was a plant, a paid distraction from Kanye's very public fixation on his ex-wife. Well, it all did happen right after Kim and Ye broke up. Her corporate-sounding line in one interview, calling herself a really good candidate for this position, just poured gasoline on the theory. Then there was the quote that got mangled into legend. You've probably heard that Julia Fox called dating Kanye her civic duty, or said she was taking one for the team. She said neither, and as always on this channel, we go to the tape. What she actually told The Cut, when asked why she made the whole thing so public, was this: celebrities are not that fucking important. You can tell us about your stupid fucking date. We're in a pandemic, give people something to talk about. Do your fucking service, do your job. Yep. Weirdly democratic, and a completely different sentiment from the martyrdom the internet assigned her. She later said she'd hoped to distract him from harassing Kim Kardashian online, and that the moment he started tweeting, she was out. When the sad, discarded woman narrative started forming, she torched it herself. Why not see me for what I am, which is a #1 hustler? And with time, the gloss came all the way off. On the Drew Barrymore show, she said, "My son has to be first. It just became too much, like I didn't sign up to have 2 babies, you know?" And she was describing buying AirPods just to field Kanye's constant calls while changing diapers. In her memoir, where he is never named, only called The Artist, she wrote that she felt used as a pawn in a grand master plan to get back at his ex-wife. She revealed he controlled what she wore, installing 2 of her friends as her stylists within days of meeting her. He asked her to sign an NDA. Even her dreamy date night essay was rewritten by him. The line calling it every girl's dream come true was reportedly his, not hers. Asked by the New York Times why the memoir doesn't describe sex with him, she answered, because there, wasn't any. It wasn't really about that. And in the memoir, a small scene that lands like a paper cut. During a game of Uno, he offered, "I'll get you a boob job if you want." She wrote that his words stuck to her like a piece of lint she couldn't shake off. By 2025, her verdict was final. "I regret that relationship so much. 1 month, and yet, out of it, she built so much." Because here's the part nobody predicted. The breakup didn't end Julia Fox. The breakup literally launched her. Where every previous celebrity girlfriend in history would have receded, Julia escalated. The black eye paint stayed and mutated. The clothes got only stranger. Underwear worn to the grocery store. Sorry, bodywear, as the Alexander Wang team insisted. A dress assembled from fallen leaves. A condom dress. A purse made of real human hair.
This is real human hair.
And the jerse, the jeans purse, hacked out of denim, which is the spirit animal of our merch this week. She gave her aesthetic a name, dominatrix, couture, and a constitution. Anything can be clothes. When commentators told her to tone it down, her answer was characteristically unbothered. "Fuck that narrative," she said. "If I want to pop out and wear crazy shit, that's what I'm going to wear." She frames dressing up as a visual service to the public, which I find genuinely touching. The dominatrix logic of giving people what they didn't know they needed. And then there was the moment that should have destroyed her and instead made her immortal. 9th of February, 2022, on the Call Her Daddy podcast, Alex Cooper asked if she considered herself Kanye's muse.
Yeah, a little, maybe.
What does that even mean? To no one that's ever been, because I remember you were like, this is not the first time that I've, what is a muse?
I mean, I was Josh Safdie's muse when he wrote Uncut Gems.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like things like that.
The clip detonated on TikTok. Cara Delevingne parodied it. Shay Mitchell parodied it. Julia explained she'd been stoned during the taping, laughed along, and then folded the whole humiliation back into her own mythology. Her later song lyric declares her a menace, not a muse. There's the Fox method again, the one from 2016. Take something awful, turn it into something spectacular. Quick pause, because we're about 2/3 in, and the best material is just ahead. If you're finding value here, consider becoming a channel member. Members get access to our members-only podcast episodes, where we go deeper and looser than I ever can here. And to our current members, you know who you are. Thank you, sincerely, for keeping this little salon of ours lit. So let's ask the big question now. What is Julia Fox, actually? What does she represent? On this channel, we like to borrow the lens of Camille Paglia. And let me be precise, as always, Paglia has never written or spoken about Julia Fox, so everything that follows is me applying her framework, not quoting her verdict. The closest the record gets is the writer Kat Marnell, who reportedly called Julia a Camille Paglia wet dream. And what can I say? The shoe fits. Paglia's great argument is that Western culture keeps producing women who weaponize their own image, who understand that being looked at is not passivity, but a form of power, pagan and theatrical, and a little dangerous. Julia is literally a laboratory demonstration of this thesis, an actual dominatrix, a profession that is nothing but the choreography of male desire from above, who graduated to performing dominance over the entire culture's gaze. Julia's line about her gun could have been written for a Paglia seminar. I like to say that my gun is my dick, in that it's so phallic in both its appearance and its significance. Kind of makes me think of the recent film, The Drama. Have you seen it yet? I don't want to spoil it. Well, Julia's memoir contains the confession that powers this whole machine. She wrote that she's hooked on the power she can have over someone by simply existing. She also says, "I'm not a celebrity, and I don't claim that title. I'm the artist in the role of a lifetime, playing me." Critics have placed her in the Warhol superstar lineage. Edie Sedgwick, Cookie Mueller, Courtney Love, and the downtown It Girl line that runs through Debbie Harry and Chloë Sevigny, whom, by the way, I have already covered on this channel. But there's a crucial inversion, one a Talkhouse essay nailed, when it called her the originator of the Being Your Own Muse movement. Edie Sedgwick needed Andy Warhol. Candy Darling needed Lou Reed. The classic muse waits to be seen by an artist and is consumed by the seeing. But Julia Fox eliminated the middleman. Asked once who her muse was as a director, she answered with one word: herself. Even Charlie XCX canonized her. The Brat lyric, "I'm so Julia," turned her name into an adjective.
What does Charlie XCX mean when she says, "I'm so Julia"? Like, what does it mean to be so Julia?
Just being that girl.
And Charlie later wrote that Julia Fox could quite possibly be a favorite reference, and would surely find a Warholian way to make it all make sense. When your name becomes shorthand for a vibe, you've stopped being a person and really become a blueprint. And Julia drew this one herself back in 2017 when nobody was looking. But a Paglia reading also demands we look at the cracks, so let's be honest about those too. Her memoir, she has conceded, is lightly fictionalized, characters merged, timelines tweaked, and critics have faulted it for narrating catastrophe with eerie detachment, what one reviewer called a fairy tale dressed in latex and stilettos, where everything feels slightly apocryphal. The New Yorker described her storytelling as a kind of dissociated, deadpan sweetness from a self-identified freak. Her public feud with her ex-husband Peter Artemiev, a Brooklyn-based private pilot and the father of her son, got genuinely ugly. In 2021, she branded him a deadbeat on Instagram. He publicly disputed it and called her someone who was clearly struggling, and she later apologized on her own podcast, admitting the outburst came from pandemic-era isolation, before criticizing him again years later over baptizing their son without her. Messy, human, unresolved, and the sharpest critique cuts at her most popular gospel. When Julia declared on TikTok that aging is fully in, that ugly is in, dirty girl, ugly, wearing anything you want, Refinery29 pointed out the obvious. It is a crazy privilege to even say that ugly is in when you are thin, white, and conventionally super beautiful. She can choose to be ugly. Most others never get much choice. I think both things are true at once. The message is liberating, and the messenger is too hot to say it. She started Botox preemptively at 20, and has owned it on camera. I know I've gone down the rabbit hole. She has disclosed liposuction, a rhinoplasty, veneers, filler, and then on the cover of Allure in 2025, the sentence that stopped me cold. Now, when I see someone and I can tell they've never done anything, I wish I could go back and be that person. I was so hung up on this idea that I needed to be attractive to men so that I could survive. You see, that is not a celebrity talking. That's a former teenage dominatrix doing the math on her own survival strategies, out loud, for us as much as for herself. She's also disclosed postpartum depression, bipolar disorder, OCD, ADHD, and autism, and described a childhood of feeling scapegoated, emotionally neglected, and severely misunderstood, which she answered in adulthood by building a chosen family, all living together under one roof, raising children. Her son, all right. I promised you practical. And Julia, bless her, actually filmed her own technique. So this comes straight from the source. Here's the fox eye, as she teaches it. She starts skin with a dewy serum and Armani Luminous Silk Foundation, applied with her fingers, and concealer the same way. Her words on the method? It really is like painting. It's art. Fuck anyone who says differently. Contour from Westman Atelier. Blush? Barely? A clear gel formula, because, as she says, she already has rosacea and doesn't need more flush. There's your reminder that even so-called flaws can be repurposed as features. Then the eye, matte black shadow from a Pat McGrath palette. And here is her core instruction. Verbatim. What's really important with the fox eye is that you really want to follow the shape of your own brow. Place the black just below your brow's arch. Connect it down into the inner corner, then drag the wing out past the brow's tail. Graphic, winged, slightly Batman, as she puts it. Expect mess. She goes through makeup wipes like tissues and says the whole game is symmetry. So clean up, compare, repeat. Hair, perpetually brushed. She hoards brushes, and will ask friends to brush her hair for her, which is somehow both feral and aristocratic. But also, it's super intimate. Whenever anyone touches my hair, I always feel so crazy connected to them. But the real takeaway, the transferable one, isn't a product list. It's the method underneath. Pick whatever there is about yourself that is not normal and promote it. Make it the centerpiece. Julia's whole look is basically a scar tissue worn as jewelry. You don't need her eyeliner. You need her nerve. Find it in yourself and wear it out of the house this week. That's the assignment. And tell me about it in the comments. I will read everything, and I want to know. Let's talk. So, what's the advice from the woman herself? She said to us, take the proverbial mask off. Once you embrace who you are and own your identity, your people will finally be able to find you. Here's my closing thought. We assume an it girl is born. Julia Fox is proof that one can be built deliberately, and out of the worst available materials. Que ne sera di noi? She used to ask. What will become of us? Whatever we decide, apparently. That's the whole secret, and she's been telling on herself this entire time. I've queued up the next chapter for you here. I'll see you soon. Love, Kira. Now go create your own blueprint.
Did you have a good time?